Welcome to Movies That Matter, the podcast about recent films going beyond basic movie criticism to boldly explore a social issue affecting people's lives. I'm Nicole, and with me today is...
Stacy.
What are we overanalyzing this week?
Hi, Barbie.
At long last. Written and directed by Greta Gerwig. The film follows Barbie, played by Margot Robbie, and Ken, played by Ryan Gosling, on a journey of self-discovery following an existential crisis, featuring an amazing ensemble cast, which we will get to. What did you think?
I mean, what, I don't...
Off to a great start.
Right. It's just, I think there's so many just feelings, right, around this movie. And it's just big feelings. I went in, so I think like a lot of people, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I went in thinking, oh, this will be fun. You know, it's going to be fun. It's going to be glamorous. It'll be a little kitschy. You know, this will be a good time. And it was supposed to sort of be this counter-programming to Oppenheimer, right? We were all going to go see the very serious Oppenheimer and the very fun Barbie. And instead, I'm finding myself in the theater. Women are crying. I'm crying. They're applauding. They're shouting. They're like, you know, we were all connecting. And at the end, we came out like ready to storm the castle. Mm-hmm. It was just the weirdest, like, upset of an expectation for a film that I think I've ever gone into.
Yeah. So I had very low expectations. One, I didn't particularly like Lady Bird. Two, I really didn't like Little Women, although I don't like the source material, so that, you know, like, I don't know how much that was Greta Gerwig's fault, but I stand behind the 94 one. And no one told me the, like, secret magical factor that was going to make this movie for me. Because I don't see a lot of, like, the previews, and I try to stay out of the commentary. So I had no idea America Ferrera was in this movie. And I was like, oh my God. I love America Ferrera. I have loved her since Real Women Have Curves. I have seen pretty much everything she's been in, as far as I know. So, like, she is one of my, like, favoriteest actors. So, like, I was so excited when she showed up, and I was like, yes!
And she gets the applause moment. She gets the live full audience applause moment.
Yeah, and I think for me, well, okay, first, I want to just, like, back up and ask, like, a foundational, did you play with Barbies question? Did you have Barbies?
I did. I had the townhouse with the elevator. So while Barbie never did use the stairs in my house, she did, in fact, use the elevator gratuitously.
All the time.
Up and down.
Yeah.
Up and down. She had a car. I think my sister had the car. And Day and Night Barbie is the Barbie I think of.
Me too. Did you see the Margot Robbie?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And I was like, that's my Barbie.
That's my Barbie.
I had Day and Night Barbie as well. Mm-hmm. So my mom was an ardent feminist. Sure. And would not let us have Barbies when we were little kids. And I will say, as a caveat to that, I feel sure my mom had no idea that Barbie's inventor was Jewish, because then she would not have taken that stance. Like, knowing how my mother feels about things, like, so, but she clearly didn't know. So we didn't have Barbies. But then we had babysitters who were, like, teenagers, and they used to bring their old Barbies over.
Okay.
And then we loved them, and my dad was like, this is just cruel. Let them have Barbies. And my mom did a full 180. And we would, like, go into toy stores and, like, see the, like, super Barbie collections that would come out, or if they would do, like, a vintage rerun. Like, we'd go into FAO Schwartz in New York City to go to the Barbie aisle. Yeah. Totally reverse position as far as one could possibly, and was, like, became a Barbie lover.
Right on.
My mom liked dolls a lot in general, so that was part of it. So, yeah, okay, so...
That's your history, so yeah. I do want to kind of point out, I am the only person who has a Barbie friend named for her.
That is true.
But it was the little one that no one ever wanted to play with, so...
All that being said, I felt like the movie had one job, right? Mm-hmm. It had to nail Barbie. Like, it had to get all the Barbie things correct. It had to be the houses, the sets. And I was like, they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it.
It looks amazing.
It looks amazing. It was so fun.
It
like,
looks amazing.
Weird Barbie was such a great idea.
Friggin' Weird Barbie, yes.
We've all done it.
Oh, for sure. Constantly in splits. Absolutely.
We've all done it. And, like, cut her hair and got drawn over. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, Weird Barbie. I just, the houses, the sets, like, I was like, so, I thought that to me was, like, the joy of the movie was, like, how much, the creators clearly did love Barbie.
Yeah, it was, and loved films. Did you, Greta Gerwig clearly took a lot of inspiration from the 1940s sort of studio set musicals.
Yes.
And so Wizard of Oz, Singing in the Rain, that sort of surreal dream dance number that comes in for no reason, right? Yeah. That was, that Ken gets that. So all that the practical architecture that's actually constructed and then painted pink.
Yes.
It was all there. It was a whole neighborhood.
Plus the hilarious 2001 parody opening. I was like, yes. This was an interesting choice to start this movie, but I am here for it. Like,
loved it.
So, and then of course, so from the performances, like, yes, I can't imagine anybody who could better play Barbie than Margot.
Oh, no, I can't possibly think of anybody. No, it was made for her. She was made for it. I don't know. Something happened. Something happened concurrently out of space and time.
Yeah.
For that to work. Yeah.
Which I did appreciate the like Helen Mirren voiceover where she's like, no, I'm just like not special or pretty anymore.
I don't feel pretty anymore.
And Helen Mirren's like, note to the filmmakers. Picking Margot Robbie for this, like, it's not really making her point here. And I was like, good, thank you. And I loved the diversity of the Barbies. There's a Barbie in a wheelchair.
Yes.
In the dance scene.
Yes.
And I was like, that was a choice, and I am here for it.
There's a dad bod Ken.
There's a dad bod Ken, although someone I saw on TikTok made the comment there was like, there's no fat Kens. And you're like,
I don't want to be mean. I'm just saying, yeah.
But, and so the response was, because Ken's supposed to be a woman in this movie.
Oh.
Ken doesn't get the diversity.
Oh. Well, I don't know.
The range that, like...
In the range. Maybe in
right?
the range, yeah. I thought Freudian slip. Scott Evans, his brother. I thought he served a pretty good dad bod Ken.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right. Maybe they're right. There should be a more obese Ken.
No, they're wrong. Because the point was, no, they're a woman in this movie.
Right on. Okay.
Like, the same way that, like, women aren't allowed to be unattractive and have parts in movies. Like, that was the point.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, but I will say, like, shout out to Simu Liu, because I was like, he was looking, yeah.
I'm fanning
dancing,
myself.
I know. I was like, woo, who knew?
You're like, hi, Ken.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing that I have to get out of my system, Alan.
We've got to talk about Alan.
Did you think Alan was gay?
You know, when he first shows up, I sort of presumed. I'm like, oh. But then he never exhibits any attraction towards anyone. And then I went, is he supposed to be ace? And then I kind of went, I don't think anybody's anything in this world. They don't have genitals, you know? I think he's meant to represent something else very specific that we can get into. But I did not ultimately know. I didn't read him as being attracted to anybody.
Okay.
What about you?
I assumed he was gay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw, again, discourse on social media about him being gay. And everyone was like, he wasn't gay. Why did people think he was gay? And I was like, I know why I thought he was gay. Because he was a guy who rejected the patriarchy and was friends with the women.
Oh.
So, like, obviously, he was, like, I was like...
Okay.
Of course he was Barbie's BFF. Like, it was like... And I was like, oh, I just assumed he was gay because, like, of course he's, like...
Because he doesn't hate women.
Yeah.
I did walk out of the movie with the revelation that, and having, just said I didn't think he was specifically gay, I did come out thinking, this is why women love gay men and drag queens. And so I've heard that question asked, and I was like, I couldn't ever quite put my finger on why. Like, why do we love them so much? And something that the daughter says, men hate women and women hate women, and that's what we have in common. It's the one thing that we can agree on.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, no, there's an asterisk there. Gay men love women.
Yeah.
They're the only demographic that love women.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I realized, like, again, this is not a good thing. This does not reflect well on me. It does not reflect well on all of my male friends, two of whom are on this podcast.
Sure. Sure.
I just was like, well, of course he's gay. And then when I got called out on it, I was like, oh, yeah, he doesn't have to be gay. Like, he
just doesn't hate women.
Yeah. That's not a good look for Nicole. So I'll own up to that.
It's understandable. It's all very nebulous, right?
I did think he was really funny, though. Like, I thought Michael Cera did a good job.
I'm not even much of a Michael Cera fan. I came out a Michael Cera fan.
Yeah, same here.
Other cast notes, trans Barbie.
Yep.
Which is not accurate, right? She's just Barbie, but trans actress. So that's cool.
That was cool. I thought Issa Rae did a good job. As President Barbie.
Issa Rae, 2024. Half the cast of Sex Education.
Yeah.
I'm here for that. I missed all those
in jokes, so.
I was just so happy to see them.
Yeah.
I just love them. I did love all the practical jokes about how kids play with Barbie. That was hilarious. Like the, milk jugs with no milk and showers with no water, and it was so creative. It was
so fun. I loved America. I love America.
There's
like nothing she can do that I won't love. And
sing it, sister.
She was just such, I think because she has so much warmth and so much heart in everything that she does. And there's always, almost no matter what role she's playing, you're like, she's so freaking, she's endearing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I thought.
And she's our surrogate.
She is.
In the story.
And when she and Barbie connect, when Barbie has the realization that the person she's connected to who's been playing with her is like America Ferrera. Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, the waterworks. There was so much waterworks in this movie, but just like those two women like sharing that moment was so beautiful. And I was like, oh my God.
Mom, are you shining with Barbie? Like, I don't know. I think I am. I think I'm shining with Barbie.
And just like, I just like her enthusiasm for it, which was so realistic. I just loved her, and she was such a shining light in this movie.
She's great. She grounds it.
She does.
She grounds the whole thing.
Rhea Perlman.
Oh, don't start. I'm gonna cry. I was so close to crying every time, and I only because you sent me a resource about Ruth Handler.
Yeah.
That I immediately know who she was when she shows up in the kitchen.
Yeah.
The sort of like metaphysical kitchen off in the skyscraper, where Mattel, fictionally is positioned. She occupies like the 8th floor or something.
8.5 maybe.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, as soon as she showed up, I went, oh my gosh, it's her.
Yeah.
It's Ruth Handler. And she comes back, and everything that she said was just, I felt like I was in the presence of an angel.
Yeah, she was terrific. And
so emotional.
So my, one of my friends had seen the movie ahead of me. I couldn't make it with her because I was still trying to see Oppenheimer. And then, so we have a joke about, like, me finally embracing middle age and buying my first pair of Birkenstocks. So she's like, I thought of you immediately when it was like the red pill or the blue pill, and it was Birkenstocks.
You gotta want to know. Choose the sandwich.
And
Try
it's
again.
Take the Birks.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
And apparently pink Birkenstocks have been selling out all over the world.
Oh, I believe it. And I thought that was like the perfect analogy to end on.
For sure. I mean, okay. More notes. I took special delight in the sort of like open disregard for like reality when it came to action scenes, like chase scenes, anything, fight scenes, anything like that. It didn't. They were clearly just inserted to move the plot along. They didn't actually bear any resemblance to the physical worlds. You know, like Barbie being chased by these guys that like can't seem to run in a straight line, and Will Ferrell wanting to climb through or over a cubicle. He goes, "This is the fastest way." Like I was like, "Good for you guys! Good for you guys for just pointing out that like all of these sort of movie tropes are just
silliness.
They don't matter.
No,
they're just there to move to the next scene."
Yeah,
I loved that. I loved the beach battle. The friggin' beach battle. It was just they're shooting each other with like Nerf guns and glitter. It was. I felt like she was sort of lampooning all of these very hyper masculine movie tropes that we as women normally have to sit there. And I am generalizing men and women here.
Yeah.
That we usually have to sit through.
Yeah.
There's a fight scene. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't catch all of the like. I can't remember all of the what's like snubs isn't the right word. But, like, Zack Snyder took a hit. The Godfather took it.
Where does Zack Snyder get?
So, when she's, like, naming all the things that women get stuck doing for men, or, like, where men are, their, like, fandom is annoying, and she's like, I think they're,
or having someone play guitar at you.
I don't know, I was like, yep, I literally have been in that exact situation. So there's a line, there's, like, a throwaway line where, again, it's like, where the Barbies and the Kens are like, and one of the Barbies is like, well, why don't you go argue over which is better of the Zack Snyder, like, supercuts or whatever. Like, I can't remember the exact line, but, like, again, I'm trying to keep it all in my head and watch the movie, but there was, like, a few things that came in for derision in male fandom, and I was like, I am so here for this, because again, so relatable as a woman.
It is. It's so relatable. We've all been there. We've all had to, We've had a guy show us a movie and watch how we react to it and judge us based on that. Like, it's not fun, guys. Not fun. But it was, I don't think any of it was mean-spirited. Right? We were poking loving fun at the men in our lives who do these funny things. Just because it's something that we've all lived through. And it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree. I think it had a little bit of an edge to it. And I think it was not entirely pulling its punches on a certain kind of man. Like, you have, when they start making, like, Kendom land or whatever, I forget.
Kendom!
They start to buy into the whole patriarchy. I think it is kind of a little bit of a sharper critique of, like, what men are like in relationships and what women have to put up with. I will say, fun fact, did you know that's America Ferrera's real life husband?
I read that very recently. I did not know in the movie. No, that was super cute.
And I think the funniest Easter egg at all, which totally went over my head because we're a little old for this, was the Bratz reference.
Was there a Bratz reference?
The daughter and all her friends.
Are they meant to be brats?
They have all the same name as the 4 original brats that came out.
Went
over my head. Like
Props.
I said, we're
props there.
Brats were for the generation after us.
For sure.
So sets completely amazing. Costumes obviously completely amazing.
DP Rodrigo Prieto.
Music choices. So first, I just want to say, like, this is going to be one of those years of an Oscar given away too soon, which is better than an Oscar given away too late. I really hated Billie Eilish's Bond song. Oh. She apparently won last year. She will definitely get nominated this year, and she probably won't win it because they won't want to give it to her 2 years in a row.
Oh, I see.
But that song is amazing.
I now, just out of association, burst into tears whenever I hear the song.
Yeah, it just
Pavlovian, yeah.
And then, I mean...
Okay, best song, best picture, best director, best actress, best supporting actor, best supporting actress, and best production design.
And probably best original screenplay as well.
There you go.
Yeah. So, that was I loved the Billie Eilish song, but also like shout out to a song that I have obviously like loved and played on every road trip I've ever been on since high school. Hello to Closer to Fine. I was like, yes, bring back the Indigo Girls. I was so excited. Like that was the song that was playing.
And if I was Googling it to listen to it on YouTube, and I started to write it, and the Google, suggestive script came up. What is the song when Barbie is on her road trip? And I'm like, yes, girls. Yes. Look up that song. Go back to the classics.
Go give Indigo Girls some royalties. Like, I was so here for it. I love that song. And it was funny to me, too, because that song, again, I've been listening to that song since high school.
Sure.
There's like a whole verse about academia in there.
Yes.
And I'm like, that song then re-hit again in a totally different way when I got to grad school and, and had, this, like, miserable academic experience, too. And I was like, it's Closer to Five. I just knew it all the whole time.
It was the perfect choice. It was perfect selection for what Barbie is experiencing.
Yeah, it was that exact right song, right movie resurgence thing, which... again, couldn't happen to a greater band.
Right. I was so happy. I'm like, oh, they're going to get a, running up that hill moment. That's fantastic. Good for them.
Absolutely.
In general, I think, I was afraid when the movie first started. I was afraid, oh no, we're going the preachy route. We're about to be lectured about why patriarchy is wrong. But that was just so far from what we got. It was funny. It was moving. It was, there was a plot going. There were lovable characters, fun dance scenes. Like it all worked. And I think, why do you think it worked? Is it because it was just so genuine? It was just coming from like Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig and this team of, writers that they just really believed and felt what they were doing.
I think that's part of it. Mm-hmm. Again, I think, and we've at various times we've reviewed things that, like book adaptations or things where you're like, did you even like the book that this was based on? Like, sure. Why did you make this movie? You clearly have no real attachment to the source material. Mm-hmm. So again, for me, first and foremost, attachment to the source material was
like a true
such a huge part of why the movie worked, was that everybody really loved Barbie. And I think if they hadn't have loved Barbie,
it wasn't a hack job.
Right. It would have struck that like slightly discordant note and it wouldn't have worked.
I think Greta Gerwig does say it sounds like when she was growing up, her history is sort of similar to how yours started, where her mom wouldn't let her play with Barbies. And so for Greta Gerwig, Barbie was always this alluring,
forbidden fruit.
Right. So she had much less baggage around Barbie than maybe some of us could have had, because she had nothing but good feelings for Barbie.
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think that it was love of source material, authenticity of the experience, and then I would just say, like, also maybe, again, that sort of X factor of this was an ensemble cast, and that can work and it cannot work, but when it works, it's just a thing of beauty. And, like, everybody in this movie, like, even, like, that one tiny bit at the end where one of the Kens was like, yay, I just want to go back to being friends with my Barbie. Oh. It was, like, such a genuine, like, expression of, like, joy and happiness. You're, like, down to, like, the most peripheral actor. Everybody in the movie really embraced their role. And it's, like, the Barbies all look like they were having those actresses look like they were having the best friggin' time playing those parts. The interactions, again, between America Ferrera and Margot Robbie really came across well. I think that it just seemed like such a happy, joyful production. I know there was like, did you hear there was like a whole group chat among the actors?
I love
that Michael Cera wasn't on because he has a flip phone.
Stop it.
So it's just like, I felt like you felt how much everybody wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But we have not talked about Ryan Gosling or Ken at all.
Why do you think that is?
I know why it is from my point of view. So what was your take on him?
I mean, I'm a Gosling fan, and I thought he was great in this, and I appreciate his service. I appreciate any actor who is willing to, any white actor who's willing to portray a racist, any male actor who's willing to portray a sexist. And he's so lovable that he can, become an oppressive dictator, a misogynist, oppressive dictator, and we can still love him at the end. Like it took someone like that. And I like watching him dance around, and I think he's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of Mr. Gosling?
So I'm sort of neither here nor there on Ryan Gosling. I think he's a good actor. Again, famously, I'm the one who said, it's a pity he's not more attractive.
Oh.
He'll have a better career. I stand by that. I don't find him attractive.
Fair.
But that's, again, I thought he did a really good job. I just was, like, really uninterested in his story and his journey. And I think, in particular, I don't disagree with this as a choice. It's a personal criticism. It's not a, like, trying to be objective movie critic criticism. The fact that, like, he was a guy who just wanted to get with her, and her not wanting to have a romantic relationship with him was what spiraled him out, made him such an unlikable and unsympathetic character to me that I could never really care about what happened to him.
I relate to that. He's the nice guy TM. It was interesting to take that archetype and kind of play it out.
Yep.
Like, this is, if you gave a nice guy TM power, this is what he would do. So that was interesting.
Yes.
I did enjoy watching that. I thought it was very generous of the movie to bring him back.
Yep.
As a character, to bring him back to sort of benevolence and redemption. And I suppose, I don't know. It is hard. It is hard to root for him at the end and be glad for him that he's come to a good place. I have enough mercy in my heart to do that. But I'm kind of with you in the sense that I did not find him super interesting. And I was shocked at how much love he got online from guys. Guys are super into Ken. They're going around saying they're Kenuff. They're talking about, Mojo Dojo Casa houses, singing the song, saying it's the best song ever written. And I'm like, well, power to you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm really glad you enjoyed that part. And maybe that's why he was there. Maybe it was so that, like, the other half of the audience in the theater had someone to kind of relate to. I don't know. A lot of guys, Ken resonated with them way more than he did with me. Yeah,
and I think, so interestingly, like, again, Ken is the woman in the movie, right? Like, he's in a system, he's in a matriarchal system, he has less rights, less given to him.
No representation.
So, in some ways, he's meant to be the female surrogate for the women in the audience. I just think, again, personally, having it be the scorned, the nice guy TM, I was just like, my past is littered, literally littered with nice guy TMs. I was like, you couldn't have picked a type of guy that I have less interest in seeing being redeemed. Like, I'm so over it. So I think that was it for me.
A personal barrier.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't care. And that's not relatable as a woman. Because that's the thing. He's supposed to be the surrogate, but you're like, but the thing that he is experiencing, being angry because he can't be in a relationship with somebody, is wholly and utterly like a male issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I follow you. I that was actually the one thing about this movie that that gave me pause was that the Kens being the role reversal of, you know, women in a patriarchal society. The Kens are men in a matriarchal society. I feel like that metaphor kept getting flipped at times.
Mm-hmm.
So there were points when, no, they really are the men. They really are the men in a patriarchal society. Men really do this, and this is a problem. But that wouldn't be very clearly delineated. So I think that got confused.
Yeah.
I think that confused the messaging a few times.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, like, didn't ruin the movie for me. I loved it.
For sure.
But I'm like, yeah, I was like, Ken was he was the least interesting part of this movie to me, and I don't have anything really to say about his portrayal, because I'm like, I would rather talk about any other woman in this movie than talk about that character.
Sure. I will. I did enjoy watching his face light up when he was in the real world and realizing that I mean, patriarchy. He was just like, oh my God, this is amazing.
And the horses thing was very funny. For that to be the thing he gets fixated. So I will say, like, that, I guess that's the other thing too, like, about the movie that I feel like I didn't say explicitly. Like, the movie was really funny.
It's so funny. I laughed.
It was very funny. I laughed a lot.
I laughed so much.
Yeah, so.
The jokes are so good.
Yeah.
But because they're grounded in real life.
Right.
They're grounded in women's experiences. And I think that's what's so special about this movie. It was a movie. It's what made us laugh and it's what made us cry. It was a movie about the experience of being a woman.
Yeah.
And we don't very often get that kind of coverage.
Right. Agreed. What did you make of the ending?
You mean the punchline?
Just like how stereotypical Barbie like ends up, right?
Oh, you know? So the movie uses a lot of, it has a hard pill to swallow, right? It's a sharp, rough pill it's a jagged little pill, guys. And I did kind of feel like in order to make that pill easier to swallow, we used a lot of well-worn tropes.
Okay.
Fish out of water, you know, toy being, you know, self-aware, coming to life, lots of things like that. And so that was kind of, it was a very sort of, you know, metaphysical notion for Barbie to come to life, but it's also very tried and true. You see it in movies a lot. Like, I'm going to be a real boy. Yeah. You know? Yep. I do wonder if it was a trans allegory.
See, that's where, like, that's part of where they kind of, it was definitively sort of not, which is why I was, like, a bit bothered. But I don't know how I wanted the movie to end, but I had a very visceral reaction to her walking into a gynecologist's office. Like, and, like, my first thought was, like, this is literally the worst part about being a woman.
But the best last line of a movie ever that I can think of, forget Rosebud, like, I'm here to see my gynecologist, is possibly the funniest mic drop of a movie I've ever seen. Yeah.
So, to me then, I thought of that, and I was like, oh, she's a real woman because she's a vagina now? And I was like, this does not, that just, like, it was a little bit of trans erasure in my head.
Okay, I see what you mean.
And I don't think it was meant that way, and I don't want to take this too far out of context, but I was a little bit like,
I see what you mean.
But I think, again, I liked that they didn't give you a, I choose myself, like, trope, good for you, and then they sort of subvert your expectation that she's going off to be, like, a boss lady at Mattel or whatever, and you're like, where does she end up? And I was just like, God, no.
And like, she's so happy.
Yeah.
She's so proud.
Happy. And I'm like, wait till the stirrups come out, honey.
You ain't gonna be smiling in a minute.
Yeah, so I was like, this was an interesting, and again, and so I'm not really sure I haven't seen anything I actually haven't seen anyone really comment about the meaning of the ending, and I am just sort of like, it kind of is, from a woman's perspective, it kind of leaves you with that, like, well, all the good and all the bad.
That's it.
Are right here at the gynecologist's office, like.
Sure. And Greta, I know we're not supposed to necessarily consider like our, creator intent. But I think it's interesting what Greta Gerwig said on it, that she always felt like that aspect of herself, like that her female parts were something that she was made to feel shame around growing up. And she wanted to put in something about how proud and happy Barbie is to like, and unashamed. Like she, is proud to have her bits.
Fair enough.
But it did occur to me only weeks later. It's suddenly I went, oh, right. Could that have been? And maybe not. It could be unintentional. It could be I'm reading into it. But that's what we do here, right? Mm-hmm. So learning that apparently a lot, and I'm speaking out of my knowledge zone here, but apparently a lot of trans women pre-op will refer to themselves as dolls. And I have heard them refer to sort of cis women as like real fish, and that they all want to be real. And so the notion of this doll becoming real and now having a vagina, I kind of connected. I was like, is this a post-op trans woman we're talking about?
Yeah.
And again,
I'm out of my depth on that one
sure.
too.
Sure. But hey, listeners, please comment.
Yeah,
tell us.
Absolutely. So
much. Wait, before we do anything else.
Go ahead.
Depression Barbie. Depression Barbie watching BBC's Pride and Prejudice on
the 90s one too. And I was like, yes, so nailed it.
Like, yes, this they see me. They see me. I feel seen.
No, that was awesome. Yes. Yeah. That was amazing. Yeah. It was like, and they picked the right one.
So good.
Yeah. So men are mad.
They are.
Ben Shapiro of the greatest self-own known to man.
Oh,
Lord. Is out here burning Barbies.
Literally. Is he literally burning Barbies?
Literally
melting
burning
them.
Barbies. And he made a whole show about why this movie was terrible.
And I do remember, maybe halfway through the movie thinking, oh, the toxic males are going to be so mad. They're going to be so mad. And it's apparently become like this litmus test for boyfriends.
Oh, good.
Right? Like women are coming out of the theater with their boyfriends and being like, what'd you think?
Yeah.
And learning a lot.
Yep.
Either way.
Mm-hmm.
Either way. Oh, there was a really cute story. I'm sorry, I can't reference it. I don't remember. It's, someone on Instagram was saying her boyfriend came out of the restroom, the men's room. He saw the movie, come out, men's room, comes out, and he's angry. And she's like, sweetie, what's wrong? And I'm expecting, obviously, like, no. But apparently he heard all the other guys in the restroom trashing the movie. And he was mad because they weren't willing to say it to their girlfriends' faces. They were only willing to talk about it in a male-dominated space. And I was like, he's a keeper.
Yeah. Put a ring on it, honey.
That's Alan.
Yeah, that is Alan.
Right?
Yeah. And
we love Alan.
Yeah. And so an opinion piece in The Atlantic about, there's been a million think pieces about the crisis of masculinity. And it did sort of take a historical look of like, okay, masculinity has been in crisis since like America's founding, like, or whatever, it's like, there's always a crisis of masculinity. Every generation has gone through this. Like, this is actually nothing new. But the thing that caught my attention that really, really made me angry was that the author says, like, the problem is, like, no one on the left is giving men a model for what to be like they're not having this conversation.
Right.
And I was like, that is complete and utter BS. I refer you to William Has a Doll from Free to Be You and Me circa 1974. Like, feminists have been giving you plenty of examples of what we want a man to look like. Do we all remember the sensitive 90s man trope? Like, I was like, I can name 2 male creators on TikTok whose entire channel is about what being a good man is like. And those are men, right? Because we assume men are only going to listen to men.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, plenty of women are out here trying to tell you what a good man looks like. The fact that men only want to listen to Andrew Tate isn't because anyone on our side isn't willing to have the conversation.
I reckon it's not anyone's fault, but I do kind of like, I would align with that think pieces critique. Those are very rare. The ones you're mentioning, like obviously William has a dog.
They're not rare. They're just unpopular.
I mean, okay, that's fair, but I don't think there's a lot modeled. I think there's a lot that they're told what's wrong. They're told what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think representations like Alan,
mm-hmm.
I remember finding Alan confusing. I was like, oh, is this an option for a man to be?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a lot of Alans represented. And he's great. He's masculine. He's strong. But he doesn't...
And he can wear all of Ken's clothes.
And he doesn't tell anyone what to do. He just makes his own choices. He fights for what he cares about. He's an ally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that represented a lot. Like an actual positive, like a not a negative. Don't like not do this, but do this. And this is also strong and masculine. And this is a good man.
Friday Night Lights? Did you ever watch that show?
No, I did not. I did not.
I'm like, they're out there. The fact is that men don't want that. They want the easy route. They want patriarchal Ken. They want Andrew Tate. They want, no, I don't want to have to work on myself. I don't want to have to delve through my emotions. Like, I want to just be this hyper-masculine man because it's easier, is my feeling.
No, I think that's valid. And of course, we're always going to be using the asterisk of not all men. Like, we hang out with a lot of guys that are Allens and we love them. And we don't speak to all the Andrew Tates of the world. But I see what you're saying. It's never going to rank as high as like some other characters. And you know what? Maybe I'll argue against myself. All the Sylvester Stallone characters of the 80s were fantastic. Like, Rambo and Rocky. Oh man, that
dude loved his life. Well, girlfriend at the time.
Yeah,
they're married yet.
He sure did. He was a sensitive guy, but he was still strong. So yeah, maybe, but then guys loved him. I don't understand men. I don't know why some reacted to the movie this way and others didn't. Or what about this?
Yeah.
What about the weekend it came out, the weekend of Barbenheimer?
Mm-hmm.
Barbie was trending more than Oppenheimer in red states, and Oppenheimer was trending more than Barbie in blue states, and it was roughly equal in swing states.
Interesting.
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means. Like, that is fascinating.
I don't either.
Possibly, I mean, if I had to grossly speculate.
Okay.
So, women are PO'd.
Sure.
Overturning Roe v. Wade was a great way to galvanize a whole bunch of female voters.
Sure.
And some men. And so I think women in red states are feeling it, right?
Okay.
Like, they're coming out, and their Republican legislatures are speaking out, and they're like, this is not, we're mad and we're not happy with this. So possibly it was that. My guess would actually be, though, on the blue states, the sort of intellectualism of Oppenheimer probably appeals to blue states, which, and again, in a gross generalization, tend to be more urban, better educated.
That makes sense.
Than red states. So back to your point, too, like, why is it so popular? Why did it work so well? And again, I think undeniably nostalgia is a moneymaker.
Sure.
And I think in some very transparent ways, it hit a bunch of the nostalgia buttons, and
for sure.
So I was super susceptible to that, and I'm not going to say that I'm not. So I think that too, I think that people were just excited to see Barbie. 90s kids, again, you're sort of elder millennial, younger Gen X, like it hit us right in the like closer to fine feels. Like we were here for all of it. So
They used the logo from when you and I were kids.
Yeah.